All right, we have a new segment here. New segment. It's called Shipwreck Slightly Uncomfortable Segment, where we get a controversial question from the audience, and then we make Shipwreck read the question and answer it.
Okay. Fantastic.
Shipwreck's learning about this for the first time.
Yes, this is the first time I've seen this. Okay, so Orange Crush. I haven't even read this before, so I will just read.
Yep.
First off, I want to say that I really enjoy the podcast. It's the only tangentially video game podcast I listen to. That being said, I was a little surprised by your reaction to the firing of Gina Carano. I had pegged Wombat and Cheapy as more pro-labor type liberals.
This is my favorite part, is that just us two.
Mm-hmm.
We're pegged. Okay, go on.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do none of you have any problems at all with a giant company firing an employee for expressing, to my way of thinking, stupid opinions? To use another overplayed analogy, this situation feels a little like the Red Scare to me.
Okay, now
It's Shipwreck's uncomfortable segment.
He gets the answer.
He gets first dibs. Unless he wants to think about his answer first.
No, this is a pretty clear one to me. I don't have any problems.
Okay. So you're not even uncomfortable on this. Am I failing? Okay, I'll work better next regard.
I have no problems with this one at all, because to me this is pretty cut and dry, that if you are working for a company in an industry where you have an employer, they don't want you out there saying crazy stuff and being uncomfortable with your coworkers that are causing the work environment to be bad, right? You have two things going against you. You have a bad work environment and you have a bad company face, because you're the face of this product. So that's part of that working relationship, right? Like, you're not out there to say whatever you want to say and not have consequences on it in this situation.
Right.
So,
and don't you, I would imagine that these guys actually get media training as part of the job.
There's media training. There
Disney.
are certain clauses in their contracts about what they can and can't say. This was not her first warning against this. And as Shipwreck put it, there is that chance of the hostile work environment where the actual star of the show has very different opinions than you, and his opinions are probably more valid than yours. So, there's that.
I'm all for people being able to say their personal opinions on stuff, but there's a way to do that, right?
Well, I think there's also a line between personal opinions and saying things that just, you can have an opinion that can still be wrong.
Yeah.
And she had wrong opinions that don't belong in any work environment.
Yeah, I'm fine with wrong opinions as well, but it's when it crosses that line of it being in a work environment, because it's people you have to work with, right? Like, it's human. There's a reason Disney has a huge human relations department. I'm positive of that.
Yeah.
And Grogu will not put up with any of this shit.
Right. That was who was having a problem with it.
He flipped out when he heard about this. He's like, I'm not coming back unless she's gone.
And let's talk about, can I poke holes in some of the things that this person said?
Only if it makes Ship slightly uncomfortable.
Okay. I like that he tries to throw in the gotcha moment by calling us pro-labor type liberals, as if there's a correlation between working people trying to make a better living, say, I don't know, being pro $15 minimum wage, as if it is equivalent to a highly paid actress on a television show being labor. There's sort of like, that already is
right.
a false. There's a big false equivalency there. So already I'm calling bullshit on your intentions, Orange Crush.
Oh, disingenuous argument alert?
Yeah, I don't know. This is a disingenuous argument. This is someone trying to gotcha us, and I don't quite appreciate that.
Good. Uncomfortable. It's getting slightly uncomfortable in here.
Yes, even though he does mention that there's also a difference between, she didn't have stupid opinions. She said things that were just wrong and tried to pass it off as, I'm allowed to say this because it's my opinion. and that's sort of a
Well,
big
she is.
problem.
She is allowed.
She's allowed to say it. She's just
She's
not.
allowed. Well, she's allowed to
Disney's
say
allowed to fire her because of it.
exactly. Yes, she's allowed to say things that are wrong,
Yeah.
but she still needs. But she
Sure.
feels as though she doesn't need to be held accountable for saying things that
Are dumb.
are dumb and
And
well,
wrong.
not dumb. I don't want to use the word dumb.
Dumb and wrong.
Yeah, because when
It
you
can
use
be
the word
both.
dumb, it means that it's an opinion that people can have, and
Right.
and I want to kind of
Well, she
change
can have
that.
the opinion that her Twitter persecution is equivalent to millions of people dying in the Holocaust, but it's pretty dumb.
it's wrong, but that's not
It's
true.
wrong and dumb at the same
Yeah,
time. But
exactly.
also she had the right to say those things. And Disney had the right to fire her, and she had the right to get another job from Ben Shapiro, and she did.
Yes.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then she says, then he goes on to say that this situation feels a little like the Red Scare. Now, the Red Scare, and I'm assuming he's specifically talking about the Hollywood blacklist and HUAC, which was
I think he
I-
might
I
be talking about McCarthyism.
Yeah.
that is HUAC.
Okay. Who?
Okay.
Who? Ah?
HUAC and McCarthyism and the blacklist are all the same
Okay.
thing.
Good.
That's all the same thing. It happened between, 1938 and the early 40s. And really pretty much throughout the late 40s is when there was the actual blacklist. And it lasted obviously much longer than that and ruined careers. But that was also heavily influenced by the government. And there is no government influence involved in Disney's decision, which is part one of why your analogy doesn't work. Your Red Scare analogy. It's a bad analogy.
Boom, roasted.
There's nothing about this that makes this even remotely similar.
Okay.
Also, the Red Scare was sort of poking at a 1938 communist was not the same as a Russian communist. A 1938 American communist was actually a different mindset and a different set of beliefs than a Russian communist. It wasn't until Russian communism got into mainstream government conversations that Hollywood communists were sort of thrown into this bad barrel. But a lot of what was a Hollywood communist were not necessarily bad people or spies. And that sort of, again, you're comparing Gina Carano having stupid opinions. The Hollywood communists that were blacklisted weren't necessarily bad people with bad opinions. They just had a different political belief. And that is a difference. And that is an opinion you're allowed to have.
Meanwhile, Shipwreck's drinking wine, I think.
No,
Oh. what
It's
is that?
always beer.
Oh.
it's not beer. No,
No, it's not
What
beer.
is
What
it?
are you drinking?
Whiskey.
it's bourbon. It's
Bourbon.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But anyway, that's what I have to say about that.
Got it.